Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
What's up, Jeff? What do you got over
How's
there?
your holiday weekend?
It was great. It was great.
What I got here, this is what we call the good stuff. And it's only reserved for when, monumental things happen.
Yeah, correct.
And it just so happens that on Saturday, something excellent, something monumental happened. And no, it isn't what you think. It isn't what you think. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all having a splendid morning. Fish, good morning, buddy. You're all geared out today. I love it.
I had to.
Fish is wearing Michigan gear.
I know. I'm wearing Michigan gear. Look, I got the hat too. I got to support Michigan. They had a good win on Saturday. Congratulations to Michigan. Now we have to look at Purdue. I know you're playing Purdue, and you guys are like, "Oh, it's gonna be easy. You just have to kick the ball and win." No, you actually have to play Purdue. They will play tough. They'll probably have a good fan base since they're in Indiana.
I'm just glad you wore Michigan gear instead of your Notre Dame gear.
And I'll wear Michigan next week if they win the Big Ten championship game.
Fish, I think you should shut the hell up.
Hey, I'm just saying, if Michigan lose the Big Ten championship game, they're all going to come crying.
I think you need to shut the hell up and let's get this beautiful morning started. Alex, good morning. How you doing, buddy? Everybody in the Woodward Sports
I told you they had a good win.
Chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What a weekend. If you listened to the bets on Friday, you went 4-1. You won some money.
Oh, that's good.
And if you were a Michigan fan, I'm sure you had the weekend of your life. And I'm going to enjoy this with you.
How do you not?
Because where do we want to start? I'll tell you where we're going to start. Michigan absolutely beat down Ohio State 45-23. 45-23, and which was probably, in my opinion, the single greatest win. Not only in the last 20 years, not only in the last 25 years, in my opinion, the single greatest win in the last, century. I think it's the greatest win in program history, and I'll tell you guys why. You went into Columbus. That was the talk the whole year. And I had my doubts. And the doubts really started to fill once Blake Corum went down. How would they win without Blake Corum? They had won all year with him. He was the Heisman hopeful. He was the Heisman frontrunner to some people. How would you win without Blake Corum in the Horseshoe, a place you haven't won since the year 2000? It didn't make sense.
Without Mike Morris, too.
Until it did.
Right.
Until it did. And I first want to just give a huge congratulations to Jim Harbaugh, to every Michigan Wolverine fan out there. Congratulations, you deserve it. I will be smoking through this whole pack probably throughout the show, and that'll be for you, so thank you guys. So here we are. Here we are. Michigan absolutely embarrassed, physically outmatched, mentally dominated Ohio State. And that was the story. And look, you like flash, you like sexy, Ohio State's offense. It's all great. But boy, they were mentally beat in that game. They weren't just physically dominated. Michigan at the end, yes. Donovan Edwards, 2 big runs. They controlled the line of scrimmage down the stretch, sure. But Jeff, my biggest takeaway was Ohio State, in my opinion, this is the weakest I've seen Ohio State mentally since the year before Urban Meyer took over when they were 6-6. This is the lowest point I have ever seen an Ohio State football team. The Ohio State I'm accustomed to is a team that dominates at the line of scrimmage, a team that really has a roster full of talent. And that didn't matter on Saturday. And it didn't matter last year either. You know why? Because Michigan had the mental edge. Michigan were more physical. Michigan were more, I would say, assertive. They had more urgency. And I look at both quarterbacks. Both teams are a reflection of their quarterback in that game. J.J. McCarthy on the sideline, swag, confidence, calm, no worries. Down 3, no worries. Down 7, no worries. 3 and out, no worries. CJ Stroud, flustered, unsure of himself, sporadic with the plays he made. That was Ohio State. Both teams were a reflection of their quarterback play. And you saw J.J. McCarthy deliver what I think everybody expected before the season, but he delivered it in the game. Wow. I was floored. So impressed by what Michigan did, Jeff.
Yeah, no Mike Morris really played limited snaps, and they had no Blake Corum. And again, those players, we talked about it on the college football show, even previewing the game, not having those two would be detrimental. Nope. Actually, it wasn't. Donovan Edwards played extremely well. I know the first half, they struggled to run the ball. They really were tied at halftime, 17-20. But the difference was second half adjustments. And that's been really the storyline for Michigan all year. Go back to Penn State. You're leading 16-14 at the half. The second half, you outscore Penn State 25-3. Against Ohio State, you're down 17-20. The second half, 28-3. You outscore Ohio State. Jesse Minter, not even just Jesse Minter, but what they've been doing offensively and defensively in the second half, that was the turning point of the game. Not having two of your best players, arguably your best players, no problem. Guys stepped up. You could really point to a ton of people. I mean, Cornelius Johnson didn't have a 100-yard game all year. Has over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns against Ohio State. Had 2 huge plays. Loveland, the freshman tight end, he didn't really see a lot of them this year. Has one of his biggest games, his biggest game of his young career against Ohio State. Players stepped up. I thought J.J. looked so poised. I know he threw 50% completion percentage, but those plays, those deep throws that he was not able to hit earlier in the year.
I thought he's turnover prone. I was told J.J. McCarthy is J.J. McCarthy is turnover prone.
He made the plays when they were there. And you know what impressed me the most about J.J., not even in Saturday's game, but the entire season? J.J. at home, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. On the road, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. He has more touchdowns on the road this year than at home through the air. And that says a lot about a sophomore quarterback, his first season starting all year. He made big plays when they counted, and along with a lot of other Michigan players.
I was so impressed with what J.J. was able to bring to the table, with what Jim Harbaugh and his team were mentally ready for. And I don't want this to be a bash Ohio State segment, but when you spend the whole year talking about this game, telling your fan base those guys are coming to town, and we're going to beat them, and we're going to be ready, you were the mentally weaker team, Ohio State. And that's not an accident. That is a reflection of your head coach. And I know a lot of you at the time would laugh at Jim Harbaugh, 0-7 against Ohio State. 0-7. No chance. Couldn't beat Urban Meyer, who's the second greatest college coach ever, in my opinion. But regardless, couldn't beat Urban Meyer. Why couldn't Michigan beat those Urban Meyer teams? Outside of that one game where there was a legitimate bad spot that was awful. But why? They weren't mentally prepared ever to take on an opponent like Ohio State, who were more physical than them, who were more dominant at the front seven. They were much better at the offensive line position. They could run the ball. This is not the Ohio State Urban built. This is flash. This is, don't punch us in the mouth and we'll beat you by 50. But if you punch us in the mouth, we're going to have a game. Maryland punched them in the mouth. Right. You saw throughout the season there were games, even Michigan had this problem too. Not so much a mental problem, but Michigan had an offensive problem. And suddenly Michigan went into 5th, 6th gear, I could even argue, which we had not seen all year. And they brought it out in the most important game of the year, the most important game in their program's history, in my opinion. You guys need to really understand what you just saw on Saturday. This is what you need to see, or excuse me. And no, Lloyd Carr did not beat Urban. What? Urban wasn't at Ohio State when Lloyd Carr was here, buddy. Having said that, moving on. Let's talk about your program, Michigan, and where you're heading, in my opinion. What's ahead of you? College football playoff expansion. So this game, arguably, I could make the argument, this is the last time you'll ever play this game. And it'll ever have this much meaning.
Yeah.
Because If it's a 12-team playoff this year, Ohio State's getting in.
Yeah.
Michigan's getting in if they lose.
You may see them again. There's a possibility of that too.
So you lose the wow, the why, the stakes. They just significantly go down. And this was the last time you would ever have a matchup that would ever be this important, likely, in the regular season, ever. And it was, of course, a battle of two undefeated teams. And, of course, it was not only ahead of the college football playoff expansion, Jeff. It was ahead of USC, UCLA coming to the Big Ten. How are you going to compete with some of these schools, especially USC, who are poised to be in the college football playoff year one?
Right.
Under Lincoln Riley. How? How would you react in the horseshoe? How? You completely dominated a football team mentally. You took their will. You took their soul. Michigan were so much better than Ohio State. And look, at halftime, let's be honest, Ohio State dominated that game. And they were only up 3.
Michigan had 10 yards on the ground in the first
14
half.
first downs compared to 6.
It
wasn't even close. But you know what? Michigan, mentally, were ready for anything.
Yeah.
Up at half, down at half. Down 15, up 15. It didn't matter for Michigan. It seemed like it mattered a lot for Ohio State. It seemed like they were frustrated. They were getting a little tense. They were playing tight. Their coach was play calling tight. That was just... We used to make fun of Jim for this because Urban Meyer would always have him in his back pocket. He would always have coach him or have something or have his team one step ahead of him at all times. Jim Harbaugh owns Ryan Day.
He coached circles around
Mentally
him in the second half, too.
And physically. His teams own Ryan Day's teams as of right now. And there's nothing you can say to debunk that or make an excuse for it.
And it almost like it seemed like the play calling defensively for Ohio State in the second half, it seemed stubborn. Like they weren't getting away from what was working in the first half. Like, yeah, you held Michigan to 10 yards rushing in the first half. Michigan made adjustments. Ohio State didn't seem like they did in the second half. And if you look at the totals, after posting just 10 yards on the ground in the first half for Michigan ended with 530 yards on offense, 278 passing, 252 rushing, and they had 5 scoring plays of 45 yards or more. Like, that just tells you, to talk about Michigan in the second half all year, it's been night and day. They've been able to make adjustments, and that speaks to coaching. So, again, Jim Harbaugh, even on the road, Jesse Minter, Sharon
How about
Moore.
Jesse Minter? How about that defense?
Matt Weiss, the entire staff.
Losing 3 first-round picks to turn it around and have a top 5 defense the following year.
Right.
Yes, the same system, but the following year. Getting production out of Chris Jenkins, Mike Morris, Michael Barrett, Mike Sanistril, unbelievable nickel corner. Unbelievable.
Made the position change.
He made some unbelievable plays in that game.
Made the position change this year to corner, and he's making plays.
All I can say is that I am so impressed with what Michigan did. I doubted them all week, and they not only proved the doubters wrong, they really... For the first time in my lifetime, Michigan are back. It wasn't last year when you won the Big Ten. You got the biggest monkey off your back by beating Ohio State at the Horseshoe. You hadn't done it since 2000. Michigan moving forward, watch out. You want to talk about momentum and where it lives in the college football landscape right now? I think of 4 programs, actually maybe 3. USC, Michigan, and Georgia. Anyone else have this type of momentum? Because I only see 3 teams. Unbelievable. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, Michigan's road to Columbus. This wasn't, again, I've already said it. Jeff, I want to have the conversation. I want to open up the phone lines to all of you. 313-552-6322. Call in. In my opinion, this is not only a program-defining win, it is the single greatest moment in program history. Because it very, very much could lead to your first national title appearance in forever. It could lead to your first national championship, legitimately playing for one, in forever. We are talking about the next 90 days, possibly, being I would say, forever changing the college football landscape for the next 10 years if Michigan are able to do a few things that not many expected before the year. Now, of course, you have your Michigan people that, of course, expected their team to contend, but could they beat a Georgia? Could they go to the college football playoff and win a big game? I'm more confident than ever, and I would imagine all of you are too.
Especially with how the college football landscape looks this year. I think you should have more confidence. And I also, when we come back from break later in the show, I do want to discuss the impact on recruiting, because we talked about this on the pregame show.
Oh, yeah. And this matters just as much.
Yeah, it does.
It matters just as much.
It does.
Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. Phone lines are open. Let's pin it at the top of the Woodward Sports chat, 313-552-6322. But before we go, I got to tell you about where Ryan Day needs to go after Saturday's loss, and that's the Planet Fitness. Get his mental and physical health in shape, because, boy, he got outplayed on Saturday. $10 a month, your fitness is essential. Sign up at a local Planet Fitness near you or by visiting them at planetfitness.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Let me tell you about our friends at Big Frog, because, guys, you can get your free Woodward Sports t-shirt at Big Frog in Novi. You stop in. You tell them your friends at Woodward Sports sent you. They'll hook you up on the spot. It's not just a free t-shirt. You need gear for sports teams. Big Frog will hook you up. BigFrog.com/Novi. Tell them your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
I love it. I love it. We are back, 8:18, woodwardsports.com, live on a beautiful Monday morning. I hope you all had a great holiday weekend.
Monday.
Fish, shut the hell up.
It's a glorious Monday.
Michigan, before the season, you all circled this game every year. You know the importance of it. And you know what? 3, 4, 5 weeks into the season, it looked like these two would probably be undefeated by the time they played each other. And that's what ended up happening. And then Michigan, you go out and absolutely crush your biggest rival. And let me walk you through why I think this is arguably your most important win as a program. You shared a national title in 97, and, you know, take that for what it is. And I don't really care for all of the Rose Bowls with Bo Schembechler, and I don't really care for all of your national championships that you've won before 1950. You really never have won at the national stage outside of 97. A few Rose Bowls here and there. And Michigan, look, let's not kid ourselves. Michigan are one of the better programs in the country. And I'm always guilty of this. I always say it. I think college football is better when Michigan are good. I feel the same way about Texas and USC. Mm-hmm. I like to see these programs have success. Having said that, this is a program-defining win. I could argue your biggest win in program history. Not because it's a regular season game at the Horseshoe. Not because you go to the Big Ten Championship think big picture here, guys. Stop being so small and in the moment of, oh, we beat Ohio State. Well, oh my God, that's not a national championship. Relax and think with me. College football playoff expansion's coming soon. You just won, arguably, the final meeting between you and Ohio State that'll ever have this much meaning, significance, stake on the line, anything like that. This is the last time you will ever experience this. And you won in the horseshoe. You ended a 22-year drought. You likely, in my opinion, turned the tide on the recruiting balance in the Big Ten in your favor. You saw multiple recruits in Ohio commit to Michigan after that game. This could be, again, in my opinion, program changing. Not that Michigan isn't good right now, but how good they can be. And what do they need to recruit? They're missing 2 positions: wide receiver, quarterback. Everything else they pretty much nail. They put defense out in the NFL every year, so they have that pitch. They always put out offensive line talent. They always have it. Yeah. It's, do you have a quarterback, and do you have wide receivers? That's the next step for Michigan. Can you recruit a Marvin Harrison? Can you recruit a Jordan Addison? Can you go find some of these skill player guys, 4 or 5 stars coming out of high school to commit to your school?
Get the next J.J. McCarthy.
You play like that, that's how you do it. And no, I don't need J.J. throwing the ball 35 times a game. No, that's not the case. But when you want to convince a quarterback, a recruit, a 5-star recruit, or a wide receiver to come play for your school, how do you do that? By not throwing it 15 times? Because they're going to look at you and say, you're going to throw it 15 times a game and expect me to commit here? Where are my touches? How am I going to be a prospect for the NFL? I'm not sure how this benefits me. It benefits offensive linemen, it benefits running backs, yada, yada, yada. But this, what you saw, the passing attack you had against Ohio State is why people like me campaigned for J.J. McCarthy. That's why. Because there was an unknown element, an unknown potential that most believed was there, including myself and you. We all agreed J.J. had untapped potential compared to Cade McNamara. What you saw on Saturday was why. And the why is what matters for your program. Because moving forward, you got a 5-star quarterback there. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's going to be back next year. What are you going to do in the transfer portal? What receivers can you bring to Ann Arbor? Who are you going to recruit now? And again, you don't have to lose your core foundation. Nick Saban at his core is still the defensive-minded, play the time, run the football guy. But he's not stupid enough to not know that he still needs a Bryce Young and a Jameson Williams and a Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. He needs those guys. He knows that. This is Michigan's next step. And I think the win against Ohio State is what propels them there. I think it's unbelievable.
I think really it was super impressive, too, watching the game, how committed Ohio State was to stopping the run, stacking the box, and basically being like, you know what, we're going to make J.J. beat us. We are. You know, we haven't seen it all year. They haven't been connecting on those deep passes, and JJ just lights out, completely balls out. And on top of this, I do want to get to the recruiting aspect of this. And I mentioned it. I brought it up on the college football show previewing the game, and that was one thing I brought up is if Michigan wins today, what will the impact on recruiting, and what will that have? And I want to read. This is per Jordan Strack. He's sports director. I think the sports director. Works in Toledo in Ohio. And I want to read what he put out because this is super interesting. This is regarding Luke Hamilton, the 5-star offensive lineman from Ohio. Might I add? This is what Luke Hamilton had to say about Ohio State after going to Ohio State and seeing how they treated us. It wasn't on the good side of treating people. He said, his dad is Steve Hamilton. He played at Toledo, also played in Ohio, so you see where this is going, looked at me and told me to pull the trigger now. I think Michigan's the right fit for me. He said, at Michigan, I felt like I was at home. Even before I got the offer, I always felt like I was home. Going to Ohio State, I was kind of on edge on whether they were going to treat me good or they were going to treat me bad. As soon as I walked in the door, I can tell there was not good energy. And after the game, you saw it. Luke Hamilton commits to Michigan. Like, that's the impact that these type of games have. Now, if he was deciding Michigan before the game, regardless, those type of wins, pulling Ohio recruits and making them come north to Michigan, That's also a huge impact of this rivalry, because even before last year, you beat them. You beat them this year. Now you haven't won the Big Ten yet, and that's why JJ in the post-game press conference said the job's not finished. You still got to go out and you got to beat Purdue. But you talk about quarterbacks and wide receivers, and yes, those things are important. You're going to have to find another quarterback eventually when JJ leaves in more skill position players. Because again, I'll bring it up again. Haven't had one draft in the first round since Braylon Edwards. But even without those players, Cornelius Johnson, Loveland, these guys stepped up and made plays. So it speaks to really the depth at Michigan too. And for JJ to, again, look at a defense, stacking the box. When plays were there, he hit his throws. The accuracy, no matter if he was throwing 50% completion for the game, he hit the biggest throws and what he needed to do to Cornelius Johnson. And honestly, the Cornelius Johnson throw where he hit him, it was before the first down line, and it was basically cover zero, and he had a free, 45 yards. I think a linebacker missed the tackle on him. Like, plays like that,
yeah, but
those are significant impact plays. Like that changes the momentum there. So
let me ask
again,
you this: does Cade McNamara make the throw to Cornelius Johnson off his back foot on a line?
That was ridiculous.
With an Ohio State defender in his face. Does he?
I think.
This is not to bash Cade.
I get it.
But this is for us to understand why we are here. Why on a Monday morning we're talking about Michigan winning in the horseshoe.
Yes. I think Cade
plays like that.
I think Cade misses one of those throws. Maybe he hits half of them, but what'd you hit? 2 to Cornelius, 1 to Loveland. He hit all of them. All the throws he needed to hit, he hit. That's why you have JJ in at quarterback, because of what he can do, his arm talent. And not even just those throws at him. He had throws moving out of the pocket. I mean, throws extending plays. I mean, they used him at the goal line. They said, JJ, get us in. JJ fought for a couple yards, got in the end zone, scored a touchdown with his legs. That's the versatility. That's what JJ brings to this offense. And again,
I thought his legs in the second half just completely pick apart Ohio State.
Changed it. And again, I got to give credit to the play calling, because again, Jesse Minter deserves a ton of credit. But Sharon Moore, Matt Weiss, I mean, I sat up here and criticized the offense. We at one time we're just like, you know what? Forget it. Don't open up the playbook. How Michigan's playing, it's fine. And they face Ohio State, and they pull all the tricks out of the bag. And offensively, they had the trick play where they had it was a linebacker who was playing fullback, ended up throwing a pass to
they brought it all
to
out.
Loveland. I mean, it's like
Michigan were
they
ready.
brought it all out.
This is so cliche to say, but I'm sorry, Michigan deserved their flowers this morning.
Absolutely.
Michigan went into the horseshoe, and I don't mean this literally, but they were ready to die to win that football game.
Yeah, no question.
I mean that. Physically, but more importantly, mentally. Michigan, their coaches, their players were ready to die on the field to win that football game. You know what Ohio State players were willing to do? Not much. And I'm not questioning their drive or their work ethic, but there is a complete mental difference between how Michigan played and how Ohio State played. And there's a reason why Michigan have won back-to-back years now. And this is not, they got lucky last year. It was at home. It was because of the weather. Shut the hell up. Michigan were the more dominant team physically and mentally for 2 straight years now. They should enjoy it. They deserve it. Let's take a break. When we get back, the phone lines are open. 313-552-6322. Michigan fans, call in. Call in. Today is about you. Today is about you, and I'm all for it. Good for you guys. Congratulations again. I'm a sucker for this stuff. I really am. I will fully admit it.
Yeah.
I love seeing this. And yes, I would rather see Michigan win the Big Ten title than Ohio State, yes. I would rather see Michigan represent the Big Ten in a college football playoff than Ohio State, yes. Maybe a little biased, sure.
But
regardless.
They're the better team. We saw it.
They earned it.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. But like I said, when we get back, phone lines are open. Give us a call. Let's have a chat. But before we go, I got to tell you about it's Cyber Monday. 10% off the entire Woodward Sports merch on the catalog. Go to shop.woodwardsports.com. That is shop.woodwardsports.com. Use code WSNCyber, and you will get 10% off the entire store. Check it out. Holiday gift, fish's face on a shirt, whatever you guys like. Go for it. It'll be available. We'll see you guys in just a second.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Official meat supplier of the Woodward Sports Network, The Butchery brings you all of the best meats, Wagyu meats, artisan breads, inspired by the legendary Chef Dave. Sandwiches to die for. Give them a call, 248-682-COWS. That is 248-682-COWS. Wow. Wow. Michigan booked their spot in the Big Ten championship game, completely dominating and obliterating Ohio State. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sure all of you at home enjoyed it. Phone lines are open, 313-552-6322. Call in, Michigan fans.
Tell us some of your favorite plays.
Today is about you.
There's some huge plays on Saturday.
Today is about you, the people. 9 o'clock, we get Anthony Broome, favorite guest. Best guest of the week, typically. He's the man. Can't wait to talk to Anthony. So happy for him. Second hour of the show, we got to talk about the Rams a little bit. Their meltdown. It'll likely be a top 3 pick. What it means for the Lions. What it means if you want to draft C.J. Stroud. If that's the camp you're in. Because I have a theory here on C.J. Stroud, and it's not always right. But the hit rate's pretty high. And I'll explain later on in the show. It'll be fun. It's going to be a great second hour, but let's continue with Michigan's utter beatdown of Ohio State. It was a thing of beauty, Jeff. It really was. And before I answer these calls right now, I just want to remind everybody, think back on how you got here. Enjoy the moment. The most wins you've had in a 2-year span in your school's history.
Mm-hmm.
You are behind only Georgia in terms of wins and losses in the last 2 years. That is your company. And you know what? I got backlash, 7-8 weeks ago? When I told you it was Jim Harbaugh. It was Lincoln Riley. It was Nick Saban. It was Kirby Smart, Urban Meyer, Brian Kelly, since he entered college football, who had equal, if not a better record than he does, and more wins. Only those 4 or 5 coaches. Only a few of those are active now. Urban out of the league now, obviously. Or, out of college football.
Right.
Think about that. Think about it. Jim Harbaugh has come to Ann Arbor and delivered everything you could have asked for. And yes, it took a while. Patience always wins. Complacency? No. Patience? Yes. There's a big difference between being patient and complacent. Let's go to TJ. TJ, you're on the morning show. Congratulations, buddy. What do you got for us?
Hey, guys. I'm just sitting here in my bed. I'm sick from school today. Love the show.
Appreciate it. Feel better.
But my favorite play from Saturday was probably the toss from CJ to one of our defensive linemen. The pick. It was really good. The game was awesome. Really enjoyed it. But I just think I think we can go all the way, to be honest.
I don't doubt it, TJ. If I were to pick a favorite right now, boy, I'd maybe give the slight to Georgia. But boy, I think Michigan is every bit of legit and real as they come.
Yeah.
I think it's Georgia, Michigan, and they have a I would say, a significant gap in separation before you get to TCU, USC. And you guys know me, I'm very, very much pro USC. And I don't want to do this now. I'll do it later in the show. But I have a whole different conversation we need to have about USC somehow, some way. Year one under the horrible head coach Lincoln Riley, get into the college football playoff likely. But that doesn't matter. Anyways, to TJ's point, he thinks he can go all the way. I agree.
No, I think especially this year with how wide open the landscape is. I mean, Ryan got a lot of heat, Ryan Romani, for saying he thinks they could win a national championship, and that was one of the arguments he made. Even this is back in October. Look at the field. With Michigan and how complete of a team they are, the question you had was J.J. and how he played on the road at Ohio State. I don't know how you don't have even more confidence in this team. So I'm with you, TJ. I don't think it's crazy to say that.
Appreciate the call, TJ. Have a good rest of your morning. Feel better, buddy. All right, let's go to Scott. Scott, you're on the morning show. I'm assuming in Michigan, man. You there, Scott?
What's going on, man?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, always good.
Good. What do you want to talk about?
My God, is it great to be a Michigan Wolverine? I'll tell you that much. Start it off.
No question.
Over the weekend, I was thumbing around on Twitter, and I came across somebody on there that had retweeted a tweet saying, "If Michigan pulls out the win, does this mean the tides have changed?" No, dumbass. The tides changed last year when we beat them in our house, and then they had the balls to invite us in their house, and we stomped them in theirs too.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how I feel about that, Scott, and I'll tell you why. Not winning in Columbus for 22 years. Look, I think, yes, a little bit to your point. When you finally beat them last season, that was all right, you don't own us anymore. But had you turned around and lost the following year, Ohio State could have easily made the case, hey, you know what, it was a fluke win. They were at home. They got lucky. We're back. We took the mantle back. And that's kind of the attitude they had going into the game. And then you, to your credit and your school's credit, Michigan came out guns blazing. Michigan came out ready for anything. And I don't say this lightly. In my opinion, I watched a Jim Harbaugh coached football team be willing to die on the football field to win that game. It meant everything, not because it was their rival, but because what was on the line, what was at stake, and being able to take that 22-year monkey off your back, I think was so important, Scott, no?
Oh, yeah, it definitely was important, and the best part of the game was not only the touchdown, 2 or 3 touchdown passes that J.J. had thrown, but the 2 big runs that Donovan Edwards had. Oh, my God, that just blew the storm gates wide open, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. And think about it.
With the cast, too. With the cast on his
Think
hand.
about how young that core is offensively. Donovan Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
J.J. McCarthy.
And it was great. The defensive coordinator must have went in halftime looking at the defense and remember the Titans. I don't want them to gain another yard.
It was an excellent second-half performance. A buddy of mine brought this up on Twitter Spaces, Justin, over the weekend. He talked to A.J. Hawk, and A.J. Hawk was like, I walk around the campus and whenever I go to these alumni dinners, and they make fun of me for being 3-1 against Michigan. Some of these guys are 4-0, 5-0. And then you look at C.J. Stroud and Marvin Harrison Jr. and are like, oh, dear God. They're 0-2.
Yeah.
The expectations on both sides, from Ohio State to Michigan, is what makes this rivalry so special. Because both always believe they should be the top of the Big Ten. They should be the powerhouse. They are the best. And really, for the last 2 decades, it's been Ohio State. I think that's fair to say. But the last 2 years, Michigan are fighting their way back.
The pendulum.
It's completely swung in the opposite direction.
It's swinging.
And I don't want to say Michigan is back like they ever left. When Jim Harbaugh came back, to me, that's when Michigan was back. They were recruiting at a high level. Yeah. They were winning 10 games a year. That was always what Michigan was. Michigan has never been Alabama. Michigan has never been Ohio State under Urban. They've never been that. That's not their history. That's not their tradition. Now, is that their expectation? That's a whole different conversation. But that's never been their tradition. That's never been who they are, but they expect it, and that's a credit to their fan base. That's a credit to what they work on. That's a credit to the brand they've built. Yep. So good for Michigan. Let's go to Brian, Michigan fan. Good morning. How are you doing, buddy? You there, Brian?
This is Brian. Hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Adam. This is Brian. I'm a longtime Michigan fan. Thanks for having me on the show. Love the Morning Woodward show. Great. And, man, this morning it's great to be a Michigan Wolverine, let me tell you.
Appreciate it. I bet it is, man. We're all very happy for you and really your whole fan base this morning. That was it was one of the greatest wins I've seen in my lifetime. You're the Michigan man. You are the Michigan historian. I know a lot of people give the school flack for winning all those national titles pre-World War II, but at the end of the day, to me, and I'm only 28, so I have a limited scope of view here. I only have 28 years on this earth. I was too young for 97. To me, this is the greatest win in my lifetime, and I think this is not only program defining, Brian. I think this is arguably your greatest win in program history. And I know it's not a natty. I know it's not a Big Ten championship game, but you beat a team you hadn't beaten in 22 years in Columbus. I think that means something.
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. And, hey, I would like to just make a few comments on schematics. And I've been watching how this team's been developing for the past, the past 5 or 6 years and kind of what the transition has been. But I just want to say this, just a couple thoughts off the quarterback play from yesterday. If Michigan is able to have success throwing the ball on first and second down like they did yesterday, and if they're able to maintain that kind of level of success with the quality of the offensive line that Michigan has that they currently have right now, let me tell you something, Adam. This football team has the capability to murder some football teams, okay? They literally have the capability to, gender transition some football teams on the other side, and I'm dead serious about that. The difference in our offensive line right now, in my opinion, you'd have to go back a long time to see a quality of an offensive line that is this good. Back to some of your early, 2010s Alabama teams, but they are staggering on the offensive line and on the defensive line too, but especially how they're built up front. And guess what, Ohio State fans, you're going to have to get used to it because the difference in the quality starting up front is so amazing. And now you couple that with very competent, efficient, and gutsy quarterback play. This Michigan team has the ability to really put it on some teams, and it is a sight for sore eyes. But man, is it great to see down there in Ann Arbor right now?
It's a beautiful thing to see. I love that you touched on the ability to throw on first and second down. What do we expect going into this game? Let's be honest here. Forget what you watched on Saturday. Corum was down. How would Michigan be able to run the ball? And I did feel at times just from watching through the TV. Ryan Day and that defense were just so focused on we want to be more physical today instead of, hey, what are they doing well? How do we stop it? That they kind of got lost in the game, and that's where I think the mental edge really went to Michigan. Michigan came out and were like, all right, bet. We got J.J. McCarthy. We fully believe in him. And, Jim Harbaugh's been propping him up for weeks now, saying he's going to let him have at it. He believes in him, yada, yada, yada. But they finally did it. They did it, Brian, and you know what? I find only maybe Georgia the only team that I would be terrified to play against outside of Michigan right now in the whole country.
100%. I think, and I'll be honest with you, I like the fact that actually Michigan played Georgia last year, and they got the experience to kind of see what they were like, and I think that's going to give us, that's going to be in our favor. I think there's a very good chance you're going to see a Michigan-Georgia rematch in the playoff. And I'll tell you, this is not the same team. This is not the same Michigan team that played Georgia last year. Our defense is fast. They're physical. They're nasty. We got Mike Sainer still out there playing like frickin' Charles Woodson on Saturday, making plays like the pass breakup that held Ohio State to the field goal late, where they only got up to 23. And that was just a back-breaking, amongst all the other ones that we had, but that was one of the back-breaking plays to beat Ohio State on Saturday. And like I said, the defense is much stiffer than they were last year, and the offensive line quality has got better. And we have the experience of playing them, in the playoff last year, so we know what it's going to be like. We know what the physicality level is going to be like. I truly believe that Michigan has the ability to match that. I don't know. I'm not going to make a prediction, but I'll tell you right now, I will say this, I would bet the house that it ain't going to be 34-11. What do you think, Adam?
Oof, wow, against Georgia, man. You know what? I'll tell you what, Brian. After what I watched Saturday, I'll say this, nothing would surprise me. How about that? I think Michigan are more than capable of winning anywhere and beating anybody. After Saturday's performance, they have silenced all doubts. Yes, you can say they haven't beaten Georgia yet. The only time you can ever play them is either in a non-conference game, which you're not incentivized to do at all, or in the Natty, or in the college football playoff. So let's wait and see. Appreciate the call, Brian. You have a great rest of your Monday. Thanks so much for calling in.
That's right. Go Blue, hail the victors. Thanks, guys.
Yep. That's a great call.
And I think to Brian's point, too, everything he said was correct. And I think on top of that, saying this is a much different Michigan team, it's also a much different Georgia team than last year. I mean, there's still a ton of talent, but it's not, as many first-round picks as you had last year for Georgia. So I think the landscape's a little more even this year. So to Michigan's point, to Michigan's credit, I think you have more of a chance this year than last year. So should be excited.
14 minutes till Anthony Broome hops on. Can't wait to talk to him.
Oh, Anthony Broome.
Let's take a break. When we get back, we'll continue the phone calls. Lines are full right now, so we'll get to all the people. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
Well, guys, the Sports Marketing Agency, I'll tell you about them because they help spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. You can check out their new podcast called This is the S Word, which helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarthy on our side.
Lemieux and McCarthy, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle, baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Let me tell you about our friends at the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck because it is the home of the original football bowling game. If you want to celebrate a Michigan victory, head over to Fulling. Act like you're J.J. Go out there and throw around. They have the $12 unlimited open play, or you can pay $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. $2 Mr. Beer Machine, full bar. Check it all out. FullingWarehouse.com.
All right, we are back live. WoodwardSports.com. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a great start to your Monday morning. Let's continue the conversation. Let's continue the phone calls. Let's start with Chuck. Chuck, you are on the morning show. Jim Harbaugh completely outcoached Ryan Day. Your thoughts on Saturday? You there, Chuck?
Hello? Me?
Yep.
Hey, how's it going?
Good,
Ryan,
good.
Jeff?
What's going on, Chuck?
I want to talk about something that really doesn't get talked about much, and that's the camaraderie that Harbaugh brings to U of M sports. Like, for instance, after the big win, he takes his players to go support the hockey team. And I think that's great potential for recruiting, because another thing that he does after the big game is he doesn't get the limelight himself. He puts his players out front for the interviews while he walks away and lets them get the big interviews.
You know what? That is a great point, and I'll say this, Jeff.
Yeah.
You saw Michael Barrett tweet out about this. This is why you go to Michigan. That's why. Because of the family, the camaraderie. You like to poke fun, and it's cheesy, but who's got it better than us? Nobody, right? That whole thing. But that is, like, you guys need to remember when you were 18, 19, 20 years old. That was everything. That was life. Those pregame speeches, those halftime talks, those postgame celebrations, that's everything for you as a young adult.
Right.
That's everything.
And to Chuck's,
and he does a great job of instilling it.
And to Chuck's point, too, Jim could easily be like, you know what, we're Michigan. They could have this aura, you need us more than we need you. And that's kind of how Luke Hamilton, the 5-star offensive tackle, felt about Ohio State. It's almost like they kind of expected him to fully commit there because he's from Ohio. That's just not the case. And I love what Jim Harbaugh's doing with the family atmosphere, even at the podium, having Michael Barrett, and on the other side, I believe it was Sanistrel. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but still having those guys, giving those guys full credit. It's great to see, man. Jim Harbaugh, he's a hell of a coach, but he's also a player's coach, and players love to play for him, and that means a lot, man, when you're trying to recruit. So I'm with you, Chuck. It's a great point.
Chuck, you got anything else, brother?
That was just all I had to say, man. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Chuck. No, yeah, he makes a great point. I think that's what really separates. Because if you're a recruit and you're going to Michigan, even a guy like Luke Hamilton, who's from Ohio, you grew up watching Ohio State, and you go to Ohio State, and it's almost like they're expecting you to go there. There's not really much of a recruiting process. And then
what environment am I sending my son to?
And then you have Michigan.
If I'm a mother or father.
Especially Luke Hamilton's father, who played offensive line at Toledo. He played in Ohio. And his own father told him to go to Michigan. So it says a lot about what they're doing over there, man.
100%.
Really,
and winning helps.
Winning helps.
Winning
obviously. Yes, it does.
Pushes it all into the limelight and makes it a lot easier. Let's go to Darrell out in Grand Rapids. You're on the morning show. What do you got this morning, bud?
What it do, go blue. Hey, Adam, hey, Jeff.
What it do, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I just got a couple things. I want to talk about my takeaway from the game.
Yep.
And it's something I noticed from the after the game, post-game podium that C.J. Stroud had. My takeaway from the game is, I want to kind of get rid of this misnomer that Jim Harbaugh doesn't like to pass the ball. Because what I've noticed about him is he wants to be balanced, and he likes to also play to his strength. So when you look at the past 2 years, his best players have been running backs. And when he leans on the pass, if it's successful, he'll keep going to it. If it's not, he's going to give it to his bell cow. Mm-hmm. And then, what I've noticed from C.J. Stroud said, and it just struck me in a different kind of way. I actually feel a little sympathy for the guy. He got up there and said, I hope that I'm appreciated for everything I've done. I've done everything I could to win this game. I hope I'm appreciated, but I doubt the staff appreciates me.
Yeah.
And that runs something in my heart. It goes back to the family talk you guys were just talking about. And, that hurt. That hurt me. Because he's still a young man. And for him to just get up there and feel like, oh, everything I've done, it all comes down to this moment, this game. I understand it's important, but I put my life on the line, I put everything on hold for this university, and for him to get up there and say, hey, I don't even feel appreciated about the staff. I hope these recruits are paying attention to the words that's coming out of his mouth, their star quarterback's mouth.
I agree, man. I think that's so important. And you know what? We talk a lot about Ryan Day. Was he born on third base? That was a whole thing. And you know what? That attitude, the way he coached on Saturday, that was a guy that looked like he was born on third base. That was a guy that was overwhelmed. That was a guy who was out-coached. That was a guy who emotionally, mentally was not prepared for Saturday. You thought they were, but they were not. And it showed on the field. It showed off the field. Mm-hmm. They were not ready emotionally, physically, mentally for nothing. And I know I've said this a few times now, but I mean it. Michigan played with an attitude of we will die out here before we lose this game. It is unacceptable. And Ohio State were basically like, all right, if we win today, cool. But if we start getting punched in the mouth, I don't know if I feel like playing against Michigan today. Maybe next year.
And Ohio State can have all the finesse, but when you're getting dominated at the line of scrimmage, I mean, that's what matters. And to the caller's point, too, the point he made earlier about putting the most faith in your best unit, not even just the running backs, your offensive line. So, I mean, for C.J. Stroud, yes, it's a huge deal. I mean, to be 0-2 against Michigan, it's not something that's memorable. But that's why you commit to Ohio State, is for that game. Even for Michigan, they asked J.J. McCarthy.
What's been the selling point for 20 years? Come to Ohio State, we beat Michigan.
And for Michigan, you get a chance to beat Ohio State. J.J. was like, sign me up. And they did it. So back-to-back years.
They've done it 2 years in a row. Exactly.
Huge.
Exactly.
Huge.
All right. Let's go to Eric out in Detroit. Eric, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us? You there, buddy?
Oh, yeah. How y'all doing?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
Good. What up, though? Go Blue.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I just wanted to point out this. Like, if you watched Ohio State all season, it was big player bust. Like, they was never physical, even in the Penn State game first half. It took a performance by the edge rusher from Ohio State, number 44, to
JT.
wreck that Penn State game at the end. It was just, they was in too many close physical games when teams was running. But then I'll point this out. If you looked at Ryan Day from the beginning of that game, he looked stressed, he looked tense, and if a play went bad, he was putting his head down. That rubs off on your kids. But if you looked at Jim Harbaugh, even if they missed something, he had to stay focused. He would pat his kids on the back, pat his kids like, "Let's go, we got him." But it was never. You saw the confidence oozing off of Jim Harbaugh, and that resonates with your players. Ryan Day, you look at him, man, he over there fussing, he over there about ready to throw his headset. Them kids can feel that. And Ohio State will start losing recruits because of him, because they going to feel like if our head coach ain't ready for this game, and they talked about, we've been stung from the game last year. Y'all brung up the flu excuse. Everybody had the flu. What's going to be the excuse this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're
100% we went
right.
there with our star running back down, our star edge rusher down, our backup running back had a cast on his hand. So, what's the excuse this year, Ryan Day?
Yeah, look, Eric, I'm with you. I don't think there is an excuse, and he's going to be on the hot seat. He's going to be on the hot seat moving forward. You don't take over a program that's won as much as Ohio State has, and you don't get to just walk in and lose. That's how it works.
No.
And especially that game. You don't get to be 0-2 against that coach. That, again, for the last 15, 20 years, Ohio State has dominated this rivalry. The last 2 years, not so much. That pendulum is changing, man. It's swinging in the opposite direction. And I'm all for it. Appreciate the call, Eric. You have a great rest of your day, buddy.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good one. Be safe, everybody.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Eric. No, and to Eric's point, I know we got to go to break, but what he said, too, about how look at the reflection of the coaches. You saw Ohio State. They go for it on a fourth down. Doesn't work out. CJ wanted to go for it later in the game. Ryan Day said no. And on top of that, I forgot the Ohio State player who did it, but they headbutted that Michigan player. Michigan just looked like the more disciplined team overall. So, again, coaching matters, and Ryan Day, even at home, he didn't look good. That's for sure. Seat's definitely warming up.
I'm with you. Well, look, our next guest joining us in a few minutes is one of my favorite people, Anthony Broome. He will be on to discuss what the hell we witnessed on Saturday, what it means. Maybe he'll call me crazy for some of the things I've said about this being one of the biggest, if not the biggest win in program history. Just my thoughts. We'll take a break. When we get back, we are joined by the Anthony Broome from thewolverine.com. But before we go, I got to tell you about our good friends over at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Their awesome stylists will take care of you like they take care of me. So get to a local Lady Jane's near you. Like I mentioned, no appointment necessary. Just walk in and they'll take care of you. Lady Jane's. It's wicked awesome.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward in Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization, we serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Being in the game for over 23 years, there's nobody I would trust with my real estate needs, and I would recommend him for all of you at home, and that is Michael Phillips and his great team over at Keller Williams Legacy. Whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, invest is Michael Phillips' top priority. If you have real estate needs, call him at 313-403-0011. That's 313-403-0011. There you go, Fish. You're doing a little better job today. You don't suck at your job. That's nice. Proud of you, buddy.
He's excellent.
Let's go to the guest of the week. My favorite person. One of my favorite people, really, on not only just in social media, but just as a human.
What a perfect day to have him, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best day to have him. We are joined by Anthony Broome from Wolverine.com. Anthony, good morning. Hope you had a great weekend.
Nothing. Slow weekend. Nothing really went on.
I bet.
A glorious Monday, and to be frank, something I could get used to.
I bet. Look, Anthony, you know what? You've been around. You were around for all the tough years, all the blowouts, all of the games, the bad spot. You were there. And now it's kind of come full circle for you, really, these last 24 months. So for you, as someone that covers the team, supports the team, what does this mean for Michigan? And am I wrong by saying this is the single greatest win this program has ever had?
I mean, I can't argue that. Last year, there was a bit of, I don't want to say last year was magic. They beat Ohio State's ass last year. This year was, this was a reaffirmation and a doubling down that what happened last year is sustainable and can be the norm moving forward. And it looked different, right? I mean, I know the box score will tell you that Michigan ran for 252 yards, but most of that production came on 2 plays late. They found different ways, and they did it in the shoe, which is hadn't done it in 23 years or 22 years. First time you've won back-to-back games in this series since 1999 and 2000, and that's just there were so many narratives. Like every single knock against Jim Harbaugh has been crossed off the list for better or worse the last 24 months or so. All that's really left for them to do now is, you got to win another Big Ten championship. You definitely want to add that another to the case there, but win a postseason game and compete for a national title, and that's all there for them. This team has a grit about it that I've never seen from a Michigan team. It has a mental toughness and a wherewithal to fire back from adversity, the likes of which I've never seen. They make the best adjustments coming out of a locker room that I maybe have ever seen a football team make. So it's been a remarkable turnaround. And if you sit here ask what it means, I mean, it's the changing of the guard in the Big Ten is official. The all season, even with Michigan as a Big Ten champion coming into the year, the narrative was, well, who's the bigger challenger to Ohio State? It's like that was a slap in the face because this team is better. This Michigan team is better. But all year you had to listen to if you had it in you to beat Ohio State again. Vegas didn't believe in you. You're an underdog again, and it's just a changing of the guard has occurred. And Jim Harbaugh and Michigan are the class and the program in the Big Ten right now. It's a remarkable turnaround from a regime that was really dead in the water or right on the edge of it during that COVID season. I've never seen a turnaround like this.
Anthony, what does a win like this, and now back-to-back wins, have on recruiting? Because obviously with Luke Hamilton being at the game, and again, visiting Ohio State, visiting Michigan, and him kind of talking about how when he visited Ohio State, it was almost like they expected him to go there. And with Michigan, it was more of a family feel. And one thing I brought up, and I felt like if Michigan were to win this game, now they have, I knew the impact on recruiting. Now, I don't think the pendulum's going to completely swing, but what kind of impact does this have for Michigan moving forward, now with back-to-back wins against Ohio State?
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State's going to keep recruiting at an elite level because that's what they do.
Right.
Michigan's recruiting, I think this is it has to be a boost for them. Last year, you had some amazing momentum down the stretch and closing out guys before the early signing day, due in large part because you were able to beat Ohio State. And there are still, I know Michigan has still kind of been slow playing it and figuring it out with NIL, and things are improving, but you got to strike while the iron is hot. And now it's all of this is tied in together. Recruiting needs to take off from here. NIL needs to take off from here. Jim Harbaugh, pay him whatever he wants right now, whatever it takes to not do this little dalliance that they've done the last 2 off seasons. So from here, it's first and foremost is to keep winning. You keep winning, you build that tradition, and the guys are going to flock to your school. And Michigan inherently always has, a fairly decent amount of, top 5, top 10 recruiting classes. The class that they're going to bring in this next year isn't going to be that, but 24 can be that. 25 can be that. And the tide is completely turned. I mean, if you're an offensive or defensive lineman, this is Michigan. Like, Michigan is the school for you right now. It's just it takes a different type of guy too to play for Jim Harbaugh. I mean, we saw those 2017, 2018, 2019 teams were built from a lot of guys that ranked highly in terms of stars, but kind of just wanted to get theirs too. So part of it is you want to keep the train rolling. The only way to keep this thing going is to keep bringing in talented players. But they've also been able to go out there and find guys that in these little areas that you wouldn't normally find. Colston Loveland scores a touchdown Saturday. He was from Idaho. Hassan Haskins was a 3-star guy that was a linebacker. They found him out of St. Louis. So there's it's a fine line between continuing to go out and get your guys and trust your evaluation mixed with, all right, how can it get better now? What are areas where you can even get better on the recruiting trails? So there are definitely implications to it, for sure.
Well, look, we've been doing this a minute now, especially you and I, Anthony. Before last season, was J.J. McCarthy the right guy? And you saw them last year game manage, play excellent defense, and win a Big Ten championship and get to a college football playoff. And that was very, very, very good. And you see them this year, and we talk about J.J. Can he win the job? Why it's so important. He can get you to the 4th, 5th, 6th gear potentially that could match an Ohio State in a shootout. And yet somehow, someway, we end up on a Saturday where your defense still dominates. And it's the offense, it's the passing game that actually won you that game. I know Donovan Edwards, 150-plus yards on 2 carries. The stat sheet was a bit inflated on those 2 carries, but that was not a Michigan team that won because they controlled the line of scrimmage and kind of grinded down Ohio State. They beat them at their own game. They beat them with the deep balls. They had the Marvin Harrison in their own version with Cornelius Johnson. That throw J.J. made to Cornelius off his back foot that Cornelius took to the house, in my opinion, was the game-changing moment, because that's a throw I don't believe any quarterback on that roster would make. And there's maybe 4 quarterbacks in the country that make that throw on a line, on the money. This is why you wanted JJ, and I think it does wonders for recruiting.
Absolutely, and I think Michigan's quarterback recruiting, there's no indication that will slow down at any time. They've done a really good job bringing in these 4-star guys. JJ was a 5-star guy. Jaden Davis in 24 could potentially be a 5-star guy. But what was striking to me about J.J. McCarthy's performance is that now we can kill this quarterback debate for good. Cade McNamara is a Michigan legend and the perfect guy for last year's team. J.J. McCarthy is now a Michigan legend and the perfect guy for this year's team. At some point, and again, it's not a knock against Cade, but you saw when they played Georgia last year that when your offensive line was pushed off schedule or you met your match physically, that kind of that threw a wrench in your entire plans. What J.J. McCarthy allowed you to do this season is give you a guy that can make plays when things aren't perfect, when your offensive line isn't having its banner day at the office or your backs are injured or what have you. So again, I don't, when it comes to the two guys, in terms of how we discuss them, to me, that's where I put it. You put each guy where he belongs. And Cade McNamara, Big Ten champion, led him to the college football playoff in 21. J.J. McCarthy, we'll see, still have to win a Big Ten title, but you're probably going back to the playoff regardless. I mean, it's just also kind of a reaffirmation of, hey, it's coming into the year. Picking between both those guys was the best of both worlds. And it speaks to the team around them, too. I know there was a lot of talk about if this team even had a chance without Blake Corum. I suspected they did just because I felt like there was more to this football team than one player. And that was, to me, that was the most – I know it was 12 of 24. It wasn't sexy in terms of completion percentage or accuracy, but in the gotta-have-it moments, they talk about leaving meat on the bone all season long. J.J. McCarthy batted 1,000 on Saturday. It was remarkable.
And to talk about the performance from the assistant coach's point of view, right? Jesse Minter, you have to replace a guy like Mike McDonald last year, and Josh Gaddis obviously won the Broyles Award. But for what they've done in the second half, and I've asked you this question before, Anthony, Penn State, 25-3 in the second half, you outscore them. Ohio State, 28-3 in the second half, you outscore them. Talk about for a second Jesse Minter, the impact he's had, and how consistent this defense has been. You lose Aiden, you lose David Ajabo, you lose Daxton Hill, 3 first-round, or if Ajabo wasn't hurt, he should have been a first-round pick. And then this happens with Jesse Minter. Kind of speak to the job he's done so far on the defensive side. And could he be in contention for the Broyles Award? Because I think he deserves it from these performances.
I think he should win it. I mean, I think I have zero issue saying he is Jim Harbaugh's best defensive coordinator, and it's frankly, I'll say not close. I mean, Mike McDonald had an amazing game plan against Ohio State last year. Jesse Minter, from the jump, it was not only a continuation of what they did with McDonald, but they're better. I mean, they're deeper on defense. Some of the wrinkles in terms of loading one side of the line of scrimmage with edge guys, or disguising coverages, or bringing pressure from different areas. He's been playing 3D chess all year, and the narrative was for both of these teams coming into Saturday is that whose defense is for real. And things were. You credit Jesse Minter, but also the defensive efforts too. I mean, Jalen Harrell gets down the field in coverage on a 4th down play. Mike Sainer still had 2 insane pass breakups. The one on a guy who's 6'5", 260 in the end zone. That would have been, Ohio State scores a touchdown down 30 or 31-20. It might look a little bit different. I mean, that might be the play of Michigan's season. Like, the highlights will be. I watched the extended highlights on YouTube, and it was what you would expect it to be. The Cornelius Johnson's 2 touchdowns. Donovan Edwards' 2 touchdowns. Mike Sainristil's pass breakup was the biggest play of that game.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of a guy who knows what he's doing, a group of players who are completely unflappable, unscared, and disciplined too, and guys making plays in big moments. And every time they've needed a play from someone, they've been able to lock down and make it. So it's remarkable. He is, again, I can't claim to know everyone's claim across the country for the Broyles Award, but Jesse Minter, I mean, number 1 with a bullet, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you this, Anthony, before we got to let you go. College football playoff rankings likely will be Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC. TCU wins the Big 12 championship. USC wins the Pac-12 championship. Is there any scenario where 3 and 4 flop, or are we looking ahead to Michigan and TCU if they handle business against Purdue?
Yeah, I guess it depends on how it looks. Michigan, assuming Georgia and Michigan take care of their business, they're in at 1 and 2. From there, it's going to be eyeball test. We'll see how TCU looks. I mean, if USC comes out and blows the barn doors off of their opponent in the Pac-12 title game, that could change the narrative, and maybe they slide up to number 3. But I think the expectation to me, at least in the here and now, would be that Michigan's probably going to go to the Fiesta Bowl because Georgia will be slotted in Atlanta, and they'll play TCU. And I think against either of those teams, TCU or USC, I like Michigan's chances against both of those teams. I'd pick them to win against both of those teams. So this whole season felt like a build-up to the Ohio State game, a crash course, a collision course, right? It's starting to feel like a crash course with Georgia again. And if you get to that spot, we'll see what happens. You'd love to just be there and figure it out, but you're going to find out just how far you've come in a year. And to me, that's the most exciting thing right now. National championship or not is another opportunity to measure yourself against, the team that is the class of college football right now.
Appreciate it, Anthony. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. As always, looking forward to your next piece that you put together. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the next few weeks. We'll definitely stay in touch. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks, guys. Well. Appreciate you.
Yep. All right. When we get back, the Rams are in total meltdown. The Lions will likely have a top 3 pick. Currently, it is the 3rd overall pick. Yeah. What do you do with it? Draft a quarterback?
Oh, you know what to do with it.
CJ Stroud? Ooh. Let's have this conversation when we get back. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Well, guys, Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings. Cintron has combined all 3 of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. You can try Cintron's great tasting cranberry, classic, and sugar-free, all in one pack. Pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box today at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. Because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
All right. WoodwardSports.com live Monday morning, 9:19. And Ryan Romani, my good friend, congratulations, by the way, to him, all the Michigan Wolverines out there. This guy has lived probably the best 2 weeks of his life.
He might be a little heavier now after that win.
Maybe.
He might have celebrated.
After Thanksgiving. But from what I've been told, he stuck to the program.
Oh, he looks good.
He's down over 20 pounds in the last 6 weeks. And he just watched his alma mater, his team, the Michigan Wolverines, go into Columbus and win. So happy for Ryan. Glad he's losing weight. Dr. Jason and all the great people over at Custom Health Centers are doing a great job with him. It's really like life-changing, man. You see how people's bodies transform, healthier lifestyle habits. So awesome to see. But let's continue. We are back. Oh, boy. All right, Matthew Stafford, probably done. Allen Robinson out for the year. Cooper Kupp out for the season.
Higbee's injured.
This is bad.
Oh, it's
for the
good.
Rams.
Oh, it's great.
But this is great.
It's great for Lions
for the
fans.
Detroit Lions. Currently, the pick is sitting at number 3. And you know what? If Houston slip up and win a game, dare I say 2, that may be the number 1 overall pick because the Rams aren't winning another football game. They just aren't.
Yeah.
They just aren't. Perkins at quarterback, Cam Akers at running back, no offensive line, a decent defense. It's done. They are arguably the worst roster in football, and they are going to continue to suck. They're going to lose out. And draft starts today. Season ends. You have the top 3 pick. Bryce Young goes 1. Will Anderson goes 2.
It's even better if Chicago has the number 2 pick, and they're not going quarterback. So
what do you do?
You're in
and here's the conversation we need to have about C.J. Stroud. Do all of you truly believe, that Jared Goff is the guy for the next 3-5 years? Is he your future? I think all of you would say no. Can Jared Goff be the answer for next year and maybe the year after? Sure. That would take quite the coaching effort, but you could manage. There are teams that are winning out there with Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins. They're winning with mediocre quarterbacks. Taylor Heineke's mediocre. They're winning with him. So you can do it in the NFL. Now the question becomes, do you take the quarterback, and who is it? And at 3, it's likely Stroud. Today. It's not Will Levis. No. Do you spend that pick on C.J. Stroud, or do you do what I'm about to recommend? I like this dude out of USC. I really do. But he doesn't come out for another year.
And you won't have 2 first-round picks that year.
You won't. But boy, there's a guy who plays defense. Name's Jalen Carter.
Oh, yeah, he's a monster.
University of Georgia.
Yeah.
I kind of like him.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people like him.
I like him a lot, actually.
Yeah.
And here's my scenario, and again, this is completely hypothetical. But if I could trade back to 4 or 5 for a team that really wants a quarterback, and I can get an additional first and still get Jalen Carter, I make that move.
You know who's sitting behind you? Seattle Seahawks. With all those picks they got from the Denver Broncos.
I'm sure they like Geno, but they've lost
But you need
3 straight now.
You got to get a franchise quarterback.
You're going to
eventually.
need one.
Yeah.
And if there was ever a year, I don't think they give up the capital, knowing Pete Carroll.
Or Carolina.
That's where the conversation gets interesting.
Yep.
Can you snag a first-round pick, trade back a spot or 2, get Jalen Carter, build this team, and with your second pick, which will be your pick, whether it's in the top 10 or top 12, 14, we'll see, continue to improve this football team, and then maybe, just maybe, have enough draft capital where next year, in 2024, when the draft is in Detroit, then you make that move. I think 2024 is the year to take the quarterback. Having said that, I would not bash this team for taking C.J. Stroud number 3 overall. But right now, I'm going Jalen Carter.
Me and you, I think, are in lockstep here. Now, the question is, who's at the top of the draft next year? Are they willing to give that pick up if they have the chance to get Caleb Williams? That's the question, and I don't think so, depending on who's there. But there's always a chance, right? If you could trade back and you can get one of these better defensive players, I'm all for it. Jalen Carter, I love. I mean, even if you trade far back enough and you get a guy like Myles Murphy, whatever it is, I'm fine with it. Or you can have a chance to get Will Anderson, I'm all for it. Defense is clearly the need this year, and maybe you take a flyer on somebody in the second round. I know people love Anthony Richardson. I'm not there yet. I'm still not a huge Anthony Richardson guy, but if the Lions decide to take C.J. Stroud, I know people, especially after the result on Saturday, are out on C.J., I wouldn't really knock them. I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't. At this point, I have enough trust in Brad Holmes to wait and see how these things play out, but I'm with you. I'd much rather you take a Jalen Carter, or you have a shot at Will Anderson, or you take one of these better defensive players in the draft. So, again, if you have a chance to get Caleb Williams next year, all Lions fans are in on that. But the question is, who has that pick, and are they willing to give it up?
Drake May, Caleb Williams. It's going to be quite the class next year. And, yes, you're right. It's going to be difficult to be in that top 3, top 5.
Well, Drake May would be the following year.
No, Drake May 2024 eligible.
Because he's a freshman. He is a freshman, believe it or not. Kid's a stud, but he's a freshman.
I'm pretty sure he's draft eligible in 2024. Am I wrong?
It's a second season. He says he's a freshman. I don't know if he's redshirting, but yeah. We'll just go off what you said. He's available next year. Yeah, that's fine.
Regardless, that class in 24 is going to be exceptional.
Yes. Yeah.
You're going to have options. You may not need to trade up to 1, 3, or 5 to get your quarterback. Having said that, look, I think Brad Holmes has earned his trust here in town, especially in the draft. I don't ever think it's a bad idea to take a quarterback with your first overall pick, second, third overall pick. We had this conversation last year. You don't draft a safety at 2.
Nope.
You don't draft a quarterback who's a third-round pick at 2. But what you do is that, look, if Stroud's available and they believe that's their guy, sure, go for it. And I have no problem with that. But right now, for me, it's Jalen Carter. You bring him onto this football team. You take that second first-round pick. You either package it up for next year and you take a chance, or you add talent to the team, draft another player in the top 15, and maybe you go secondary. Maybe you go likely corner. You go D-tackle and corner. Now this team is coming together.
Yeah.
Now this team is coming together. Then with those 2 second-round picks, a running back, a linebacker. Forget the linebacker, a running back, and another secondary player. Lions are going to be so much better. Jesus. Lions are going to be a much better football team next year. There you go. Sorry. This thing's like flying in front of my face.
But think about it, though. How good they've been offensively this year without even Jamison yet. I think no question. You take 2 defensive players. If let's say you have 2 top 10 picks, or let's say you have 2 top 15 picks. If you take 2 defensive players, think of the impact they had. Think about if you had more talent defensively this year, how many more games you would have won. So if they don't take C.J. Stroud, I'm certainly not upset. I'm completely fine with that. Take 2 defensive players. But if people want to sit here and say Stroud's a bust, that's fine. But if they take him, I'm not going to sit here and call for Brad's job. I think we can all agree on that. So, again,
ooh, Wyatt in the chat. I like that.
Carter than Joey Porter. See, that's now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
Now we're cooking.
And you know what's funny? We are talking about the Detroit Lions draft ability, draft availability, who they're going to get.
Yeah.
And it's not their pick. And they're not tanking. Yes, they're 4-7 at the moment. They're not the greatest football team, but
you have a top 10
it's
pick.
the Rams that are giving you the pick. It's kind of hilarious.
A pick that was 32 last year that you had to trade up to get Jamison. So
a lot of
how the tides have turned.
A lot of interesting draft scenarios over the next few weeks with some of the games that are going to be played. We'll see how they play out. Like I said, I think the Rams finish 3-14, 4-13 if they're lucky. But for me, it's 3-14 for the Rams. Thank you, Sean McVay. Thank you.
It's a similar situation with the Eagles. The Eagles have the Saints first-round pick.
Yes, that is correct.
Which, looking back, it's like the Saints gave up the first-round pick for Olave, which, no question, Olave's a stud. But the Eagles are sitting here with 1 loss, and they're about to have a top 10 pick. So it's a great situation to be in.
I'm loving every second of this right now. But now I want to talk about my concern with C.J. Stroud. Okay?
Okay.
I do have concerns.
I do as well, because I'm a Bryce Young guy.
Are you?
I've made that clear, yes.
I am a nobody guy. I'm going to say it from now. How I evaluate quarterbacks is a bit different. I want you to hear me out.
Yeah.
And tell me you're onto something, or Adam, what the fuck? Shut up. So either of the 2 answers are acceptable. Excuse me. Ghana just scored. It's 3-2. Holy hell, what a game. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we got to talk about C.J. Stroud. I have concerns, and it's really about Saturday. Pre-game, during the game, post-game. I'll tell you why. But before we go, Jeff, the best defense on and off the field.
Well, let me tell you about it. It's Guardian Alarm because, guys, if you're inside, you need protection. Guardian Alarm has your back, especially with the cold weather here. Stay inside. Let Guardian Alarm protect outside your home. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT today, and you can rest easy knowing you have 24/7 protection. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Let them know your friends at Woodward Sports sent you. Stay out, Ohio State.
Stay out.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Jeff Iafrate here. Let me tell you about our friends at Moneyball Sportswear, because you can check out Moneyball Sportswear because it is your one-stop shop. Whether you want the latest look in athletic apparel or you need new uniforms for your team, Moneyball has it all. Stop in Moneyball showroom in Southfield and experience the only way to ball, or visit moneyballsportswear.com.
All right. 9:32 live. The Morning Woodward Show. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff Iafrate. WoodwardSports.com. All right, people. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about C.J. Stroud. And I have a philosophy. I'm curious what you guys think.
I'll hear you out.
All right, let's stand up for this one. All right. I want you to list off for me, Jeff, the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, no given order.
Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert.
Wait, one at a time.
Okay.
I want to
so
go.
break them down individually.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Erratic coming out of college. He threw the ball too much. Air raid offense. Nobody took him seriously.
Yes.
Struggled to win at Texas Tech. Wasn't much of a quote winner. Didn't win big time games outside of a shootout, I believe, with Baker Mayfield, which they lost at the end of the day.
Yep.
And he had Cliff Kingsbury as his head coach. And nobody believed in him, and the Chiefs traded up to 10. Give me another quarterback.
Josh Allen
out of Wyoming. Nobody believed in him. Erratic, sub 60% completion percentage, interceptions, turnovers, yada yada yada. Too big, can't throw touch passes. A rookie year, doubters. Drafted 7th overall. Not one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Give me another one.
Justin Herbert,
coming out of Oregon. Not many believed in him. Believed he was too erratic. Did have the arm talent, but didn't believe he could be a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Fell to 7. Chargers made the right decision. Give me another quarterback.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Hip injury has him fall to 5, I believe, that year in the draft.
Yep. Questions about his height.
Short.
Yeah.
Is he accurate? Does he have the arm strength? Well, now he's leading the NFL basically in almost every single category.
Yep.
And having an MVP type season. Oh, wait. Tua Tagovailoa, who came into halftime during his time at Alabama and won the national title.
Yeah.
Who dealt with multiple injuries. Who dealt with scrutiny. Who dealt with the coach who didn't believe in him. Oh, okay.
Jalen Hurts.
Another one. Slipped out of the first round, actually. Second round pick. Alabama, then to Oklahoma. Rejuvenated under Lincoln Riley. Drafted in the second round by Philly. 55% completion percentage year 1, improves year 2, and now in year 3 having an MVP-type season. Very interesting. Very interesting. Give me another one.
We'll go Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, the perfect example. Joe Burrow couldn't make it at Ohio State. Couldn't make it at Ohio State.
Couldn't.
Goes to LSU. Has the single greatest season by a quarterback arguably in college football history. Drafted number 1 overall by the Bengals. Goes to a crap situation. Tears his ACL. Follows it up with a Super Bowl appearance. What do all those quarterbacks have in common? They handle adversity. They've dealt with adversity typically during their college careers. Notably Joe Burrow. Notably Jalen Hurts. Notably Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes. All these guys somehow, some way deal with adversity. Did Justin Fields deal with any adversity in college? Or were they just running over all these teams at Ohio State?
Not to the playoffs.
CJ Stroud ever face adversity? I saw him face adversity against Oregon last year. They lost. I saw him face adversity against Michigan.
Back-to-back.
Oh, they lost. I saw him do it this Saturday. Oh, wait, they lost again. And that doesn't mean he won't be a good NFL prospect. He's got the arm strength. He's got the height. He's got the talent. He's got the mobility even. But how do you handle adversity? That is being a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
How do you handle adversity? How, when things are at the lowest of lows, how do you lead all these 52 other people around you and lead a successful team? How? How do you do that? How do you handle that? And if you look at some of the better quarterbacks in the NFL right now, they've all dealt with adversity. Lamar Jackson falls to the end of the first round. Nobody believes in him. Put him at running back. Put him at wide receiver. Ravens believed in him. Jeff, I believe the single most important attribute for a quarterback is how they handle adversity. And it's not always 100% right. It's not. This isn't something that... but look at Cam Newton, Aaron Rodgers back in the day. Guys that face adversity in their college careers. Translated, were very good in the NFL. How do you handle adversity? And again, I'm not saying this is 100% correct all the time. But the question I have about C.J. Stroud this morning is, can you handle adversity? And I'm not sure how to answer that. It's a question that I don't have the answer to right now, but I am questioning his ability. I am. I have my concerns. And it is performances against Michigan where you have 2 first downs that you could totally walk to, and you decide not to. You're just refusal to run. And I talked about this when we started the show. Both sidelines reflected their quarterbacks. Michigan were calm, cool, collected, swag, ready to win, knew they were going to win. Ohio State, C.J. Stroud, flustered, unsure, kind of looking around like, all right, we'll get him next time. Oh, we'll get him on the next drive. That's how it works. I'm not saying Stroud isn't a very good NFL prospect. He is. He's got the arm strength, got the mobility, got the size, can make all the throws. You saw the throw he made to Marvin Harrison. That was an NFL throw, Jeff.
Beautiful, yeah.
Can you handle adversity? That's my question. Jamarcus Russell couldn't handle adversity. Josh Rosen couldn't handle adversity. Baker Mayfield couldn't handle adversity. Sam Darnold couldn't handle adversity. Jameis Winston couldn't handle adversity. Marcus Mariota couldn't. These are guys taken at the top of the draft. And they couldn't handle adversity. That to me is one of the most important traits. And I could be wrong. But even look at the third-round picks, the guys that were doubted. Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady in the 6th round. Your ability to process information and handle adversity is so important.
Could I make the argument that we've seen that out of Bryce Young through his 2 years?
Especially this year.
Last year on the road at Auburn, facing adversity. Earlier this year at Texas, beating Texas, winning by 1 point, drove down the field, game-winning field goal. Like that stuff, and I love where you're going with this too. I mean, it really took Bryce last year to lose Jamison and Mechie to lose to Georgia. I mean, talk about adversity. This year not having those weapons, still performing at a high level. Yeah, they lost twice to Tennessee and LSU, but both of those, for let's take Tennessee into account. They missed a field goal. LSU, their offense did their job. LSU came down and ended the game. So I get where you're going with that for CJ. It doesn't help too that you have all the talent at wide receiver, and on top of that, you can't win big games. And I get that's a criticism. It was a criticism for Patrick Mahomes. But I think you're onto something here with the adversity, because Bryce, I've seen him handle adversity. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, he's too short. Well, Tua was too short, but he's an accurate passer. Bryce is accurate.
And so is Kyler Murray.
That's not
and
really
so
where
Russell
I'm
Wilson.
going with that. I'm not judging off physical attributes. It's how do you play a quarterback. And to me, Bryce has been better. But for C.J. Stroud, he has the size. He has at least the numbers. But can we talk about elevating your teammates? That's important at playing the quarterback position, and that's why I'm leaning Bryce, because I saw Bryce elevate his teammates this year, elevate his teammates last year. It seems like C.J. Stroud is just playing with all kinds of talent.
It's the lowest ebb of Alabama we've seen, and they somehow win 10 games without any marquee wide receivers.
There you go.
Not bad if you ask me.
How do you elevate your teammates, man? And again, C.J. made some great throws, like you said, great throw to Marvin Harrison, but it's something in a quarterback or any football player. You have this ability in big games or in big moments to shine, and I just haven't seen that out of CJ through 2 years. So it is a concern. It really is.
All right. Well, fair enough. I'm actually quite happy with that. Let's take a quick pause. When we get back, Michigan will take on Purdue in the Big Ten Championship game, and there's some Monday Night Football. We'll go around the NFL, see how we did. Bets, by the way. Best bets I gave you on Friday. Excuse me. 4-1.
See, here we go.
4-1.
Fish.
We're back.
Can't criticize him.
No, I cannot. That was actually pretty good.
5-0. The last
good.
3 weeks have been 5-0, 3-2, 4-1.
It's pretty
We're
good.
talking 12-3 over the last 3 weeks. Jump on the train while we're hot and make some money.
How do you not?
Having said that, before we go, Jeff, could you tell everybody about our good friends over at Big Boy?
Well, guys, satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy. Listen, Michigan has a big win. Go celebrate. Go to Big Boy and get all you can eat. Because, listen, Big Boy is my favorite spot to go to lunch. Whether you're taking a friend out, you're going by yourself, screw it. Go to Big Boy, get a milkshake, get some food. You can visit bigboy.com for full details and participating locations.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Let me tell you about our friends at Chili Peppers Tanning, because it is where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. You can join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations, and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan.
All right. Beautiful Monday morning. Thank you to everybody joining us over at woodwardsports.com. Live. Michigan coming off an impressive 45-23 beatdown over Ohio State. They'll be playing Purdue in the Big Ten Championship game. And you know what? We had this conversation last year heading into Iowa. You can't look past the cliche, right? Don't overlook your opponent.
Right.
This is the lowest. I wouldn't say lowest. This is the worst Big Ten in the last 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm losing much sleep over Purdue. Having said that, get Corum right. Do not play him in that game. Get Edwards right. If you got to play him, play him. But
get Mike Morris right.
Everybody sits for the college football playoff. That's my rule. everybody sits. You get everybody healthy for a month from now. That's what you need. Everybody healthy. Corum, Edwards, Morris. Get them all healthy. I don't care. I don't care what it takes. And you have enough to beat Purdue even without those players. You've shown it.
Yeah.
Now, if Donovan Edwards can play with the cast, sure, maybe you can give him 7, 8, 10, 12, 14 carries maybe. CJ Stokes, and then you just got to rely on J.J. McCarthy again. That's fine. I really have no concerns over this game against Purdue. All I care about right now is Michigan getting healthy and getting ready for what I believe is their best opportunity ever to make a national championship game. This is it. You're going to get TCU likely. They're a damn good team. They can put up points. You saw what your defense did against Ohio State, who can put up points. I love the matchup for Michigan. Take care of business against Purdue, and then we can have the conversation about TCU and potentially getting to your first national championship game in the college football playoff format.
I'll tell you what, it's better to face TCU in the first game than Georgia last year. So at least they have that going for them. But this is what happens. You earn your spot, and they have a chance right now. The destiny's in their hands. Go out and beat Purdue. It's crazy that Purdue is in the Big Ten title game. This is my problem with how this is set up, and I can't wait for the expansion because it should be better teams. But I digress. Michigan, they should win, obviously, even without Mike Morris, even without Blake Corum. Those guys need to rest. I'm with you there. Now, you keep a majority of your starters in playing. I think Donovan should play. But the fact of the matter is, it's not about Purdue. And it's not about overlooking them either. It's looking at TCU and how much of a threat they are. Because I do think TCU, as much as I've given them flack all year, and Adam, you've pushed back on me, I picked pretty much against them in most of the games they've played, and TCU's been impressive, man. And that's really the game, because if you beat TCU, you're looking at a rematch with Georgia, the national championship game, with a much level playing field. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but Michigan fans, looking at the path to, or the road to a national championship win, it's wide open. And really, the destiny, they control their own destiny. I know this is the narrative with Michigan too. Moving forward, if you play well and you continue to play well as they play defensively and offensively, they got a road to the national championship. Now, we'll see. TCU is a hell of a team, but Purdue, don't sleep on Purdue. Take care of Purdue, dominate Purdue like you did Iowa last year, and from that point on, they control their own destiny. It's going to be huge, Adam. I think TCU, as much threat as they bring, and they have Quentin Johnson, they have first-round guys, Quentin Johnson, Max Duggan, Heisman candidate as well.
They could miss their 3 marquee players, and Michigan could still stomp Purdue.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I'm not worried at all. I'm not saying,
look
again,
what they did without Blake Corum and Mike Morris against OSU. I mean, they'll be fine. I'm not worried about Purdue.
Michigan will handle their business. They're coached by Jim Harbaugh. They're not going to take any opponent lightly. Get right for the college football playoff. That's your objective.
Yeah.
Win the Big Ten, get healthy for the college football playoff. That is it.
And look at the mindset Michigan has, too. And this is one thing I love, especially with J.J., a young quarterback in his sophomore year. Him saying, job's not finished. Kind of pulled a page out of Kobe's book there. Said, job's not finished. Took the hat off. We got to win that Big Ten title. And I love that because it's easy to get lost in this huge, historic win at Ohio State. And as well as J.J. played, like, it's very easy to kind of look past Purdue, but no, I love it. The mentality they're approaching this game with, they're not taking Purdue lightly. They aren't. I know Michigan fans might be, but Michigan isn't, and they're locked into winning that Big Ten title game because listen, if you lose to Purdue, this is all done with. So again, go win back-to-back Big Ten championships, and you control your own destiny from that point on. So go take care of Purdue, and J.J. McCarthy and the Michigan football team, they know that.
Oof, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, look, here's what I got for you, okay? If you look at the last 4 meetings between Michigan and Purdue, Michigan have won all 4 of them. Michigan have also won 9 of the last 11 games versus Purdue.
Yep.
For all of you in the chat, this isn't Michigan State. Purdue upsets Michigan State. Purdue upsets Ohio State. They don't upset Michigan. That's not how it works. It's not the history. It's not the recent history, at least. 9 of the last 11 have gone Michigan's way. Michigan will be just fine. Michigan will be just fine. Having said that, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, mailbag time. Get all of your questions in the Woodward Sports chat, and we will answer them. So, what are you waiting for? Start getting your questions ready. Jeff and I will go through them all, and we'll wrap up the show. Again, Michigan beating Ohio State 45-23. What a great Monday morning. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Well, guys, with the holiday season here, Swiss Insurance wants to remind you to insure those gifts on jewelry or collectibles. In the last 2 weeks, Swiss has saved its clients on an average of 26% of their insurance premiums while increasing coverage at the same time. That's a lot of money to free up for the giving season. Plenty of gifts. You guys are looking to get your family, your friends, even your significant others. Allow Swiss Insurance to help you. Merry Christmas from Swiss Insurance, and go blue.
It's back. Year 3 of Woodward Sports Stuff-A Studio is here. The past 2 years, we've collected new unwrapped toys and stuffed our studio so we could hardly fit in it. This year, we're doing it even bigger. Join Woodward Sports and our whole family December 19th to the 23rd as we stuff our studio. While you're out shopping or just sitting on your couch ordering presents, make sure you grab one extra and drop it off at our studio, 15 Mile in Woodward and Birmingham. We'll be collecting toys around the clock to make sure every child in Mott's Children's Hospital feels the warmth of the holiday season. It's the time of year to do for others. Help us stuff our studio. Special thanks to all the wonderful elves at Meyer and Guardian Alarm for keeping the toys safe. Stuff-A Studio 2022 with Woodward Sports.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
All right, our good friends over at Bedrock Detroit bring you decked out Detroit downtown winter bumper cars, huge slides, indoor arcades, grab drinks at the lodge and food before you eat, before or after the games, doesn't matter. Shop, eat, and play downtown all winter long with Decked Out Detroit and our good friends over at Bedrock Detroit. All right, mailbag time. Let's start with the questions. Adam, did Caleb Williams lock up the Heisman? Jeff?
I think so, man.
Jeff?
I think so.
I get this one.
It's his award to lose.
He won the Heisman.
It's his. Just mail it. Mail it.
It's his. It's his, and
put it in his mailbox.
What do you know? Surprise, surprise, USC in the Pac-12 championship game, and if they win, they're in the college football playoff. Surprise, surprise, they'll have another 12-win season for Lincoln Riley. Surprise, surprise. I'm not surprised. No, I won't lie to you. They are totally outperforming my expectations. I thought they were 9-3 or 10-2. That's what I thought in the Pac-12 this year. That was my regular season prediction. 9 to 10 wins. 11-1. They've beaten all the ranked opponents they've had. They lost by 1 point on the road to Utah. Now they play Washington in the Pac-12 championship. Destiny's in their hand, but Washington's a tough matchup. Michael Penix can throw the football. That offense is explosive.
Yeah.
Jalen McKinnon, I believe is his name, the wide receiver. He's fantastic.
This could be a USC, UCLA type
This could
result.
be a 55-52 game.
Yeah.
63-67, I don't know. It's going to be crazy. I'm for it. I can't wait. But yes, Caleb Williams locked up the Heisman. Let's see what else we have here. Mailbag, Adam, after getting beat last year by Georgia, they have no clue what's coming.
I think
Michigan is ready for anything.
They're ready, but I think Georgia's also thinking that same thing.
Georgia's the litmus test for every team in college football.
Absolutely.
They are the standard right now. And you can't be the standard until you beat them. So, that's that.
Eric asked Mailbag, Jeff, do you think the Pistons should trade Bay if the price is right? I think that's the key word of that sentence, though. If the price is right. I think at this point, Troy Weaver...
But what is the price?
That's the question.
More first-round picks? You have enough young
No,
players?
it would be... In my opinion, you'd trade Sadiq in assets for a good player. I wouldn't want more first-round picks, but we'll see, Eric. I mean, never know. Troy's always making deals, man. He's always picking up the phone call. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sadiq Bey rumors, they just end eventually because he's going to shop. We just don't know if a deal will be made. That's all. Just seeing what his worth is. That's all. I love it.
All right. Wait, USC is playing Utah. That is right. Because
they're playing
Washington
Utah.
lost and had no, Washington won, I believe, correct?
Yeah, they did win.
So because they won,
In
that
Washington
means
State.
Oregon were taken out and Utah were jumping. Yeah, I misread. I apologize. Great call.
By the way, it was a great game for any of you watched on Sunday, like 2 a.m. How do you not? Apple Cop.
I bet on it. So
Did you? Good.
I
Did
did.
you win some
I
good
did.
money?
I bet the over on yards receiving for that McMillan kid or whatever the hell his last name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Daryl Shepard asks, is Killian Hayes on the rise? Well, guys, I'm not trying to...
Is anything on the Pistons a rise right now?
Well,
on the rise?
I want to
Is
say
there anything on the rise for the Pistons?
I want to say there's two things that I talked about that people gave me flack for was not jumping off Killian Hayes, that bandwagon, still having faith in Killian. And another thing was defending Dwayne Casey. And it seems like both those things are kind of working out in my favor. So, guys, that's all it is. Take a deep breath. Give the Pistons more games. I know they're bad. They suck. But it doesn't mean we need to slap the panic button. All right, let's move on.
All right, can the Wings not only make the playoffs with this team, but can they win a series in advance? Winning a series,
That's tough.
Boy.
That's tough.
That's tough.
They got the
But
Leafs
they got
tonight
the
at home.
goalkeeper to do it. Is that fair? They got the goaltender. They got the guy in net to do it. If you ever there was a guy to just be absolutely unstoppable in the playoffs, it would be Husso right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would trust it. But let's just make the playoffs first. How about that? Let's start there. Then we'll talk about winning a series. Totally ahead of schedule for the Wings. What do you know? Surprise, surprise. Iserman working his magic and Derek Lalonde coming in and doing damage with the players they brought in. But like I said, if Uso gets hot, oof. Good luck beating this Wings team. Adam, I want Caleb Williams as well next year, but if they don't get him, what do you think about Marvin Harrison Jr.? I don't know. Him, J-Mo, and St. Brown. Go get defensive help. Look what the Jets have done.
Yeah.
They were 31st or 32nd in every category last year on defense. They suck on offense this year. And they're 7-4.
And if Jameson's...
And they have a top 10 defense.
If Jameson is...
Go invest all those picks on defense.
If Jameson's that dude and Amon-Ra continues to be on the rise like he is, I don't think Marvin Harrison's probably going to be your number one need. But again, he's a hell of a player. What do we have?
Whew. All right, let's see what other questions we have in the chat.
Daryl Shepard asks, is it over for Rodgers in Green Bay?
Yeah.
He sucks balls. Get him out. Get him out.
Tough way to go out, man. Especially with he was banged up last night.
How do you like the guy sitting in the hunt? I like it because the Seahawks Giants are going to fall apart. No, they're not. Stop it.
Yeah, they're not.
Washington 7-5. All right, here. Let me explain something a little slow for you guys because I know some of you have either drank too much or you're just a little slow.
I mean, how do you not?
You are 3 wins behind 7th place. 3 wins.
Yeah.
Forget the games back. You are 3 wins behind. You have to win 3 more games just to tie with them over the next 3 weeks, which means they would have to lose the next 3 weeks.
And
you're not in the hunt.
3 games are
you're not in the
easiest.
hunt. You're not in the hunt, and the only way you ever could have been in the hunt was by beating Buffalo. Almost did. Almost doesn't count.
Nope.
They're still heading in the right direction as of now. As long as they don't fall apart down the stretch, I think you're going into the offseason feeling confident about your football team, excited for what the draft picks will be, 6 in the first 3 rounds. You're going to have some cap space to work with. What will they do with Jared Goff? What will they do with some of these guys that you can release and get some money for? It's going to be an interesting offseason, but these next 7 games will define you. Excuse me, these next 6 games will define you. These next 6 games will define whether or not Dan Campbell is taking you in the right direction or he's kind of just there for the ride and it's working sometimes and it isn't working other times. Your test is Jacksonville this week. You're at home. Jacksonville just beat Baltimore.
Home win. Big home win.
Can you beat Jacksonville? I do think you can. Will you? We'll see.
Yeah.
But right now it is about progress more so than the playoffs. Who cares about the playoffs right now? You started 1-6. That was dead a long time ago. Can you salvage your season and show enough improvement going into next year? That's what you got to do. That's it for today's show. Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff Iafrate, as always, the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. Thank you for checking us out. Fish, you have a great rest of your day.
Thank
Alex,
you, sir.
Go to hell. Appreciate all of you in the chat. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. We will see you tomorrow. Fish, shut the hell up.
Oh, okay.
Enjoy the rest of your Monday, all of you. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Till we see you tomorrow, take care and have a great Monday.
Go watch World Cup. How do you not?